I'm standing in my parents' kitchen when I hear the words that will change everything. She was a mistake. Always has been. She'll never measure up. My father's voice carries through the speakerphone, crystal clear in the silent house. My hands freeze. The coffee mug I'm holding slips from my fingers and shatters against the tile floor, dark liquid splashing across my shoes and the pristine white cabinets my mother polishes every Sunday. The crash echoes through the kitchen, but I barely register it. Those words keep repeating in my head, drowning everything else out. She was a mistake. Always has been. I'd stopped by unexpectedly to drop off their mortgage statement, like I do every month. For 5 years, I've been quietly covering most of their payments through my LLC, C&C Holdings. 5 years of sacrifice. 5 years of putting their needs above my own. 5 years of hoping that maybe, just maybe, they'd finally see me. The ceramic shards at my feet look like my insides feel broken into jagged pieces that can never be put back together quite right. My father walks into the kitchen, phone still in hand, and stops cold when he sees me standing there. His expression shifts from annoyance to shock as understanding dawns across his face. He knows exactly what I heard. "Savannah," he says, quickly ending the call. "How long have you been?" His words cut off when he notices the mortgage statement clutched in my left hand, now crumpled from how tightly I've been gripping it. 5 years ago, they were facing foreclosure. I remember that family dinner like it was yesterday. My father sitting at the head of the table blaming the economy for their $320,000 mortgage default while my unemployed brother Brandon nodded sympathetically. The weight of their unspoken expectations settling on my shoulders alone. I'd spent that night making calls, pulling strings, using my financial expertise to broker a private deal with the bank. I purchased their mortgage through my LLC, paying faithfully each month while accepting their small, inconsistent contributions. "You misunderstood what I was saying, honey." My father's voice turned smooth, placating. He takes a step toward me, hands spread in that reasonable gesture he uses when he's trying to make someone doubt their own ears. "Your mother and I were talking about Brandon's girlfriend. The lie hangs between us, pathetic and obvious. My hands have been trembling since the mug fell, but now they suddenly stop. A strange calm washes over me. I place the mortgage statement on the counter, smoothing it flat with steady fingers. Did I misunderstand this too? His eyes flick down to the paper, then back to my face. For once, he has nothing to say. I turn to leave, my shoes crunching over broken ceramic. He calls after me, but I keep walking. For the first time in my life, I don't turn back when Richard Cole summons me. Later that evening, my phone lights up with his name. I let it go to voicemail, then listen as his message fills my apartment. "Savannah, you're being too sensitive. You've always been like this, making mountains out of molehills. Call me back so we can straighten this out." I sit alone on my couch, staring at the budget spreadsheet open on my laptop. The numbers tell a story clearer than any words could. 5 years of sacrificing my own financial security for their comfort. 5 years of putting off buying my own home. 5 years of seeking approval I now realize I'll never receive. The revelation doesn't come as a dramatic epiphany. It settles into me quietly, like a truth that's always been there, waiting to be acknowledged. All this time, I've been measuring my worth against a standard that was designed for me to fail. I close my laptop and breathe deeply, feeling something shift inside me. Tomorrow will be different. Tomorrow I will be different. They called me a failure, and now they'll learn exactly what I'm capable of. 2 days later, I met David. "It's called a purchase option clause," David says, sliding the mortgage agreement across his desk. His finger taps a paragraph buried on page 17. If they miss even one payment, full legal ownership transfers to C&C Holdings immediately. I stare at the document, the words swimming before my eyes. 5 years ago, I'd been so focused on saving my parents from foreclosure that I'd barely registered this provision when the bank's lawyer added it. "Is this enforceable?" I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. David nods, adjusting his glasses. "Completely. The contract is ironclad." He opens his laptop, turning the screen toward me. "That's not all. I've been monitoring their account as you requested. They're down to just $843.27. Their portion of next month's payment is $1,500. They'll bounce it," I realize, warmth flooding my cheeks. A strange feeling washes over Medred, tangled with something that feels uncomfortably like relief. I've been carrying this burden for so long, paying their mortgage while putting my own dreams on hold. Now a way out has presented itself, not by my choice, but through their own actions. David leans forward, his expression serious. There's something else you should consider, Savannah. If your parents discover you're the actual owner of their mortgage, they might try to challenge the agreement. Family financial arrangements get messy in court, even with solid documentation. I fold the agreement neatly along its creases. They won't find out unless I tell them. 2 weeks later, I sit at my parents' dining table, perched on the edge of my chair like a visitor. My mother has prepared her signature pot roast, the same meal she makes whenever she wants something from me. My father occupies his usual spot at the head of the table, my mother at the opposite end. Brandon lounges in the chair beside me, his posture a study in entitled relaxation. At 33, my brother still carries himself with the casual confidence of someone who's never had to worry about consequences. We've been meaning to talk to you about something, my father begins, setting down his fork with practiced precision. We're going through a bit of a rough patch financially. My mother nods sympathetically. Just temporary, of course. We were hoping, my father continues, that you might be able to help out with an additional $2,000 a month, just until things stabilize. The pot roast turns to ash in my mouth. $2,000? On top of what I'm already contributing? My father waves his hand dismissively. You're doing well, Savannah. Your brother isn't as fortunate right now. Brandon shifts beside me. The job market is brutal. Has been for 8 months now, apparently. My mother adds with a nervous laugh. I set my fork down carefully. 8 months? Brandon's been staying in the basement while he looks for work, my father explains. We didn't want to worry you. The pieces click into place. The increased utility bills they've asked me to cover, the extra groceries, the home repair costs that never seem to result in any visible improvements. You wouldn't be where you are if it weren't for us, my father says, his tone shifting from request to righteousness. We invested in your education. We supported your career choices. I think about the $320,000 I've already sunk into their mortgage, the 5 years I've postponed buying my own home, the emergency fund I've depleted covering their temporary shortfalls. If I agree to their demand, that fund will be completely drained within a year. My father interprets my silence as consideration. It's the least you can do, really. I realize in this moment just how exhausted I am, tired of being the family bank while simultaneously being treated as the family failure. Taking on more clients to cover this additional expense would mean 70-hour work weeks, all to support a brother who hasn't worked in nearly a year, and parents who see me as nothing but a resource to be tapped. I look at my father, then my mother, then Brandon. Their expressions hold the same expectant entitlement, as if my agreement is a foregone conclusion. For the first time, I see them clearly not as the parents I've been desperate to please, but as people who will take and take until there's nothing left of me. I'll think about it, I say with a polite smile, knowing the payment deadline is just 11 days away. The drive home that night is quiet, except for the steady rhythm of my windshield wipers pushing away the light rain. A question turns over and over in my mind. As I drove home that night, I wondered if I should warn them about the impending default, or let the legal process unfold naturally. Warning them might preserve some relationship, but letting events play out would finally free me from their manipulation. What would you do when the people who should love you unconditionally have shown they only value what you can give them? 2 days later, my phone vibrates for the 7th time today. I glance at the screen and see Brandon flashing like a warning light. Declining the call, I set the phone face down on my desk and massage my temples, but the tension has burrowed too deep. Melissa from accounting pokes her head into my office. Your brother called again. Something about investment opportunities? Her expression carries a mix of curiosity and concern that makes my stomach clench. Everything okay with your family? Fine, I say, the word clipped short. Just some confusion about boundaries. After she leaves, I overhear the whispers outside my door. Cole's family having money troubles. Can't manage her own relatives' finances. Surprising for someone in her position. The voicemails from my father accumulate like a toxic waste dump. Yesterday, Savannah, this silent treatment is childish. Call us back. This morning, after everything we've sacrificed for you, you owe us this much. An hour ago. Your mother is worried sick about you. Is this how you repay her love? The most insidious attack comes from an unexpected quarter. Jenna, my college roommate, texts me. Your mom called. She's really concerned about your mental health. Said you've been making concerning financial decisions and cutting off family. What's going on? 3 more friends send similar messages before lunch. I'm building a fortress around myself with each block they try to tear down, but the toll is mounting. When my credit monitoring app pings that afternoon, the notification freezes my blood. Someone has applied for 3 credit cards in my name in the past 48 hours. The accounts are pending approval. I stare at my phone, unable to process what I'm seeing as understanding slowly crystallizes. This isn't just emotional manipulation anymore. This is identity theft. My hands shake as I call the credit bureaus to place a freeze. The representative's voice sounds distant, underwater. Has anyone else had access to your personal information? Perhaps family members? The question lands like a slap. That night, I jolt awake at 2:17 a.m., heart hammering. I dreamed my phone was ringing, endlessly ringing, with my father's face floating above it. Even in sleep, I can't escape them. The next day, my quarterly performance review with my boss reveals what I already know. You seem distracted lately, Savannah. Your last 2 client reports contained calculation errors. That's not like you. I nod, professional mask firmly in place despite the shame burning beneath it. Personal matters, being handled, won't affect my work again. Back at my desk, I create a new folder on my computer. Documentation. Inside go screenshots of every text, timestamps of every call, transcriptions of every voicemail. I email myself a copy, then back it up to an external drive. The methodical work calms me, gives structure to the chaos they've created. An attorney specializing in identity theft agrees to meet me next week. Bring everything, she says, especially if you suspect family members. Those cases can get complicated. Complicated. A polite word for the ugly truth. The morning of my meeting with David, he arrives at my office with 2 coffee cups. He sets one before me, and I notice the words, "Financial Superhero," written on the side in his neat handwriting. Most people help their families, he says, settling into the chair across from me. You've been carrying yours. There's a difference. The understanding in his eyes almost undoes me. Next day, I'm drafting an email when my office door bangs open without a knock. My father stands in the doorway, face flushed with indignation. The receptionist hovers apologetically behind him. It's okay, Jen, I tell her. I'll handle this. My father strides in like he owns the room, the building, me. His voice booms in my modest office space. After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us? I continue typing, finishing my sentence before looking up. What exactly have you done for me, Dad? The question hangs between us. His mouth opens, closes, opens again. For perhaps the first time in my life, Richard Cole is momentarily speechless. We gave you life, he finally sputters. We raised you. I turn back to my computer, the minimal motion disguising how my heart pounds against my ribs. The deadline for your mortgage payment is tomorrow. I suggest you make it on time. You can't just... I can and I am. My voice remains level while I continue working, not giving him the satisfaction of my full attention. The realization washes over me with startling clarity. I don't need to justify my boundaries to him. I don't need to explain. I don't need his approval to protect myself. After security escorts him from the building, David calls. I heard what happened. Do you want me to be there when the legal notification is delivered? His offer touches something raw within me. Yes, thank you. Then Uncle Valerie's name appears on my caller ID. My mother's brother has always kept his distance from family drama, making the call unexpected. Savannah, he says without preamble. Richard's been calling around trying to get information about your clients. Says he's worried about your business practices. Thought you should know. Before I can process this new attack, my boss requests another meeting. My stomach drops, preparing for the worst. Instead, she closes her office door and speaks plainly. Richard Cole called HR this morning with some wild accusations. I want you to know your position here is secure. Your professionalism speaks for itself. On the morning of the 11th, David's text arrives with the confirmation I've been both dreading and anticipating. Payment missed. Full ownership now legally transferred to C&C Holdings per contract terms. I sit on my couch, phone in hand, staring at the message. The house is mine. The house my parents have lived in for 30 years, where I grew up, where I learned I would never be enough as legally mine. I could call them now. I could drive over and tell them face to face. Instead, I set my phone down and pick up my coffee mug. The legal notification will arrive by mail in 3 days. Let the system I've trusted deliver the news. Let them feel what it's like to be blindsided by family. 3 days after I got the house, the leather chair in Attorney Madison Walker's office creaks as I lean forward, spreading the documents across her polished mahogany desk. Steam rises from the coffee she offered black. No sugar, just like the situation I find myself in. Everything looks in order, Madison says, tapping a manicured finger against the mortgage agreement. Her silver-framed glasses catch the morning light as she reviews each page with methodical precision. Once they miss that payment, ownership legally transferred to C&C Holdings. Your LLC, you. I nod, my heartbeat steady for the first time in weeks. And the notification process? We'll prepare a formal ownership transfer notice. She reaches for a blue folder, extracting several forms with yellow tabs marking signature lines. Plus, documentation of all payments you've made through your company over the past 5 years. My signature flows across each page, no hesitation. 5 years of second-guessing myself ends today. I want it properly served, I say, capping my pen. No questions about whether they received it. Madison's lips curve into a professional smile. Certified mail, return receipt required. They'll have to sign for it. 2 days later, my phone pings with a notification. The tracking app shows the delivery confirmation, a digital image of my father's unmistakable signature scrawled across the receipt line. Perfect timing, David murmurs when I show him the confirmation at our afternoon meeting. Isn't today Brandon's birthday celebration? I finish, picturing the scene. My brother opening presents while my father signs for legal documents that will change everything. The image brings neither joy nor regret, just a calm certainty that actions have consequences. The fallout begins faster than I anticipated. My office phone rings the next morning, the receptionist's voice unusually formal. Savannah, there's someone from HR asking to speak with you. A complaint was filed. I straighten my spine, prepared for this. Put them through. Marjorie from Human Resources sounds apologetic. Your father called claiming you stole family documents and used company resources for personal gain. As we discussed last week, I reply calmly. Yes, she confirms. We've documented your preemptive explanation. The complaint has been noted and dismissed. That evening, my phone buzzes with text notifications. A college friend has forwarded me Brandon's social media post, a lengthy paragraph accusing me of elder financial abuse and taking advantage of our aging parents. The dramatic language would be almost comical if it weren't so public. I forward the screenshot to Madison, who responds within the hour. Cease and desist letter drafted. This constitutes defamation. I'll have it delivered tomorrow. 3 days of silence follow. Then Madison calls while I'm reviewing client portfolios. Their lawyer contacted me this morning, she says, sounding pleased. After reviewing the documentation we provided, he's withdrawn from representing them. Said something about not wasting their money on an unwinnable case. I close my eyes, absorbing this small victory. What happens now? They've requested mediation, Madison replies. Apparently, they want to discuss terms. My pen stills above the financial report I've been annotating. Mediation. I repeat, tasting the word. That would mean sitting down with them. The thought sends contradictory emotions spiraling through me: hope and dread, longing and resolve. Would facing them across a conference table lead to understanding and healing, or just another opportunity for manipulation? Would they finally see me, or merely the house they're losing? What would you do? I ask Madison, surprising myself with the question. She pauses, then answers carefully. Legally, you have no obligation to mediate. The contract is ironclad. I know she's right, but some questions aren't about legal obligations. That evening, David arrives at my apartment with a thick folder tucked under his arm and determination in his eyes. I've compiled 5 years of payment records, he announces, spreading spreadsheets across my kitchen table. Every transfer from your account to the mortgage holder, dates, amounts, everything. If they try to claim you haven't fulfilled your obligations, this shuts them down. Uncle Valerie calls next. I haven't heard from my mother's brother in months. I heard what's happening, he says, his gravelly voice familiar and comforting. I can talk to your mother. Make her understand this is real. That Richard needs to accept what's happening. My throat tightens. Would you? She might listen to you. Already planning to drive over there tomorrow, he promises. Madison texts late that night. Formal eviction notice prepared. 30-day timeline. Your call when to serve it. The weight of these actions, the legal documents, the financial records, the family interventions, builds a fortress around me. For the first time, I'm not standing alone against my family's expectations and disappointments. My phone rings at midnight. My mother's name appears on the screen, not my father's, which gives me pause. Savannah? Her voice sounds small, lacking its usual certainty. Is this really happening? Something in her tone suggests she's alone, calling without my father hovering nearby. I've never heard her this vulnerable. Before I can answer, she continues. Brandon has been applying for jobs. Did you know that? Actual jobs, after all these years. The information lands like an unexpected gift, one I'm not sure I want. And your father? She hesitates. He's been talking to realtors. There are for sale signs on the Henderson's house and the Whitfield's place. He's been asking what they're getting per square foot. I picture my father driving the neighborhood, calculating property values, planning his next move. He's called a family meeting, she adds. Everyone's coming. Your aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone. Her words hang between us. An invitation? A warning? I think of the eviction notice waiting to be served. The family gathering forming like storm clouds on the horizon. The first cracks appearing in my parents' denial. I know, I tell her, though I didn't until this moment. I know about the meeting. Some battles you see coming long before the first shot is fired. On the family meeting day, the living room of my parents' house feels like a courtroom as I step inside. Aunts, uncles, and cousins perch awkwardly on chairs dragged in from the dining room, their expressions ranging from confused to concerned. Uncle Valerie catches my eye and gives me a nearly imperceptible nod. This isn't a casual family gathering, it's an ambush. Dad stands by the fireplace, one hand resting on the mantel beneath the oversized family portrait taken on my 30th birthday. His blue button-down is freshly pressed, hair combed just so. Ever the perfect patriarch. Thank you all for coming, he begins, voice resonating with practiced authority. Family should stick together in hard times. That's what being a Cole means. Mom dabs at her eyes with a tissue. Richard and I never thought we'd face becoming homeless at our age. Her voice breaks on the word, homeless. A tremor I've heard her perfect over decades of getting her way. Brandon leans forward from his position on the couch, elbows on his knees. Savvy, I know you're angry, but you're choosing money over family. Is that really who you want to be? I notice several relatives shift uncomfortably. They haven't heard the full story yet. We're willing to make concessions, Dad announces, magnanimous in his desperation. We can pay market rate rent moving forward. We just need you to stop this eviction nonsense. The room falls silent as everyone waits for my response. I've rehearsed this moment for weeks, played it over in my mind during sleepless nights. I stand and open my leather portfolio, removing 12 identical folders. Before I respond, I'd like everyone to have all the facts. My voice is steady as I distribute the folders. Page 1 shows every mortgage payment made over the past 5 years. Uncle Valerie opens his immediately. Aunt Susan gasps softly. As you can see, I've contributed $270,000 toward the mortgage. Mom and Dad have paid $108,000. I wait as the numbers sink in. Page 2 shows a credit report with 3 unauthorized applications made in my name over the past 2 years. My cousin Jennifer looks up sharply. Who would do that? I don't answer. I don't need to. Mom suddenly finds the pattern in the carpet fascinating. Uncle Valerie stands, his tall frame straightening with purpose. I've reviewed these documents. They're legitimate. Savannah has been covering most of their mortgage for years through her company. I've been family to you, I say, looking directly at my father. You've been landlords to me, except landlords would have appreciated the payments. Dad's face flushes crimson. This is ridiculous. We raised you. We put food on the table. The house is legally mine, I interrupt, my voice firm but controlled. You have 30 days to vacate. The family portrait above the fireplace draws my attention, all of us smiling, Dad's hand resting possessively on my shoulder. 5 generations of Coles have lived in this house, Dad reminds everyone at every opportunity. I walk to the fireplace and lift the heavy frame off its hook. The room falls deadly quiet as I turn it over, revealing the back of the frame where C&C Holdings, LLC, is written in permanent marker. "What are you doing?" Dad lunges forward, reaching for the portrait. "This is our home." Uncle Valerie steps between us, a solid barrier. "Not anymore, Richard." Mom collapses onto the sofa, tears flowing freely now. "What will people think?" she wails, always concerned with appearances above all else. I place the portrait on the coffee table, face down. "They'll think you should have treated your daughter better." The silence that follows feels both heavy and freeing. Cousin Jennifer is the first to stand, gathering her purse and jacket. Others follow, murmuring awkward goodbyes. Several pat my shoulder as they pass small gestures of support that would have meant everything to me just months ago. Uncle Valerie is the last to leave. He squeezes my hand and whispers, "Your grandmother would be proud," before closing the door behind him. I'm left standing alone with my parents and Brandon, who hasn't moved from the couch. "You won't go through with this," Mom says, her voice hardening now that we have no audience. "You're bluffing." I pick up my portfolio and head for the door. The formal notice will arrive tomorrow morning. 30 days. I pause, hand on the doorknob. "I suggest you start packing." The following morning, I watch from my car as the courier delivers the thick envelope containing the legal notice. Dad answers the door in his bathrobe, signs for the package with a scowl. For 11 days, I hear nothing. No calls, no texts, no emotional appeals. The silence is both unsettling and liberating. On the 12th day, I drive past the house on my way to meet David for lunch. A moving truck sits in the driveway. Brandon loads boxes into the back while Dad supervises from the porch. Neither looks up as I drive slowly past. I feel no triumph, no satisfaction, just the quiet certainty that I've finally stopped measuring my worth against their impossible standard. The rest of my life stretches before me, unburdened by their expectations. They called me a failure. But as I accelerate away from the house that's legally mine, but will never be my home again, I know they're the ones who failed. Failed to see the daughter who would have given them everything, if they'd only given her the one thing she needed, their love. 3 months later, I stare at the offer on my laptop screen. $545,000 for my parents' house, 15% above market value, all cash, 30-day close. The cursor blinks beside the accept button, waiting for a decision that once would have paralyzed me with uncertainty. No phone calls to my father asking for advice. No anxious texts to Brandon seeking validation. Just me, making a choice that will shape my future. "What do you think?" I ask David, who sits across from me at the coffee shop, his cup bearing a hand-drawn financial calculator with a cape. "It's a solid offer," he says, sliding his glasses up his nose. "But this isn't about the numbers, is it?" My finger hovers over the trackpad. Years ago, I would have second-guessed this decision for weeks. I click, accept, and feel nothing but calm certainty wash over me. This morning, I turned down a potential client who reminded me too much of my father demanding immediate attention while offering minimal compensation. The old Savannah would have squeezed him into her schedule, working extra hours to accommodate someone who didn't value her time. The new Savannah suggested 3 other advisors who might be a better fit. The lease paperwork for my new office space sits beside my laptop. Cole Financial Advisors, specializing in helping women achieve financial independence. 3 clients have already signed on. To new beginnings, David raises his cup. The conference room at First National Bank hasn't changed at all. Same walnut table, same landscape paintings, same leather chairs that squeak when you shift your weight. Last time I sat here, my hands trembled as I signed the documents to purchase my parents' mortgage. I remember the knot in my stomach, the voice in my head questioning whether I was doing the right thing, whether this would finally earn their approval. Today, I sign the closing documents with steady hands. The pen glides across the paper with purpose, each signature a declaration of my worth. I was paying for approval. I tell David as we gather our things. Today I'm investing in myself. He nods, understanding the journey those words represent. That evening, Uncle Valerie hosts a small celebration dinner. Just 4 of us, David, Uncle Valerie, my college roommate Jenna, and my neighbor Meredith, the people who stood by me when it mattered. Uncle Valerie raises his glass. To financial and emotional independence. We clink glasses, The women at the table understand what these words truly mean: freedom from manipulation disguised as love, from obligation masquerading as family duty. After dessert, Uncle Valerie hands me a small wrapped package. Inside is a framed dollar bill with a note. The first of many clear-eyed investments. 2 weeks later, I finalized the paperwork for the Savannah Cole Foundation, a grant fund for women escaping financial abuse within families. Our first recipient is a 23-year-old whose parents opened 8 credit cards in her name, leaving her with $42,000 of debt she never created. As I review her application, my phone lights up with an email notification. My mother's name appears in the preview. Can we talk? I have nowhere else to go. My thumb hovers over the screen for a moment before deleting the message. As I watch that email disappear from my screen, I wondered if true freedom means closing doors permanently or leaving them slightly ajar. Is there a point where family deserves a second chance, or are some bridges better left burned for your own protection?